Hello, today I thought it would be fun to create a crystal grid board so that I could set up some crystal grids. And this one's going to be based on sacred geometry with the help of the Artistcellar Flower of Life 12 by 12 stencil. So I'm just starting on a 12 by 12 wooden board that has been lightly gessoed, and I am spraying some DecoArt medium mister on it. And I like this mister because it dries permanently and I don't have to worry about it reactivating when I work on top of it, which I do end up doing. So I'm using a mixture of purple and blue and magenta for this, and I'm just spraying it all on the board, really saturating it, and then I'm going to take a heat gun and completely dry it. Now I'm using a paper towel to mop up some of the excess, and since it's mostly dry, it won't affect it too much. It's just mopping up what is pooling on top. Now I'm using a Tattered Angels Glimmer Glam paint. This is just to add a little bit of sparkle. I believe this one is called Tanzanite, but it's just another dark purple. I'm also going to be adding some of that DecoArt Medium Mister in magenta, and this is just to add a little bit more color to it. I think that these three colors work really awesomely together, and I think it's going to make for a pretty cool looking board. Now once I've sprayed it all on, I again need to let it all dry, and since I'm impatient, I'm going to take a heat gun to it as well. But not before I let some of that color drip around. Alright, once it's totally dry, it's time to use the stencil, and again I have the 12 by 12 Flower of Life Sacred Geometry stencil, and I'm using a white DecoArt Medium Mister at first. To be honest, most of the process is spraying and drying, and with drying being the key word here. Just making sure that it's dry in between each layer is probably the most important part. And pulling up some of that excess here. Since the white's just going to be a background color, I'm not worried about it being very crisp and clean, and that's why I'm taking the paper towel to it now. I want it to be there, but it doesn't have to be the star of the show. Alright, and so there it is. You can see it's quite a bit muddy. I'm just going to dry it again before I add another layer. Now I'm laying down that Flower of Life stencil again, and this time I'm pulling out that magenta DecoArt Media Mister that I had used before. And I'm going a little lighter handed on it, because I don't want this one to get totally muddied up like the white did. Doesn't that look cool? So I, off camera, took a heat tool to it, and now I'm using just a regular paintbrush and some titanium white fluid acrylic. This one is from DecoArt Media, and I'm just going to go through and hand paint. It won't be as crisp and precise as the stencil is, but I like the look and feel of a totally hand-painted board. So I'm going to go through that now, just tracing over that stencil and seeing where this takes me. I'm really liking the way that this is turning out so far, and I'm feeling so inspired by it. I can't wait to add the crystals in as well. But for one last little effect, I'm grabbing some of the white paint with a very watery paintbrush and splattering it on the board just around the edges. Alright, now it's time to grab your crystals, write down your intention on a piece of paper, and you want to start with your generator crystal, which is always a quartz. And in my case, it's not necessarily a quartz like what you normally see people use, but it is what I have for now, so it is what I will use, and it'll work all the same. Now I'm picking out some different quartzes. This one is just a clear quartz and a crystal. I also have some citrine and carnelian that I'm going to set down on the board, all the while keeping my intention in mind. I hope you find this project fun and entertaining, and especially fun when you go in to start adding your crystals and your intentions to the board.